Hello there and welcome to a new episode of Afterthoughts. My name is Wim Winters and this evening, the 11th of December 2015, in case you watch this much later, I've recorded the 5th Partita of Bach. It will be released on YouTube probably on the 1st of January 2016, as I did last year, the 1st of January, the 3rd Partita. If you follow this channel a little bit longer, you might remember that in August 2015 I played all 6 Bach partitas in Brugge at the Musica Antiqua Festival, not the official festival. Clavichord is not very well represented in the official festival since people are afraid that you won't hear the instrument, I think. I don't see another reason for that, but in the side festival there is a builder's exhibition, and so I performed 6 times in 3 days, all 6 partitas, and that was a lifetime experience. These partitas are really terribly difficult, certainly on an old keyboard instrument like this. The time setting of these partitas about 1726 to 1731, so as a part of the Klavierübung part 1, they are clearly intended as maybe also compositorial exercises, but I think that the focus is on the technical study, the improvement of the technique of the player. And I must say, if you put this in context of that time, compare this to other composers, like for instance Handel, this is much more difficult. And in Brugge I said in these short introductions to each of the partita, I compared Bach with Franz Liszt. And maybe we should consider that Bach has a name of being kind of old-fashioned in a way that he embraced the old tradition of polyphony and brought that to a high point, and that is of course true. But at the meantime, he prepared also stylistically the further 18th century through the work of his sons. They haven't stolen that from somebody else, obviously, and there are pieces by Bach, Father Bach, that really opened the whole scene for the new world, but it was as if that wasn't his thing. The polyphony was really what he was cared too much about that. But technically speaking, what he did during his lifetime was really outstanding. It was not at all old-fashioned. It was remarkable in a way that Franz Liszt would be in the 19th century. Franz Liszt writing his Transcendental Etudes, and he made 3 versions of that. The last one almost impossible to play, so technically much more even demanding than this. But within the world of polyphony, these partitas, I think, are for that time such a high standard that you sometimes may wonder who was able to play them. Maybe only the Bach family, I don't know. They are very demanding. So what we are going to do today, I go through the whole partita, so it will take some time. I will, in the description box, I will make some time notes, so an index, so that you can shift from one part to another. The first part is a really improvisational part, and I played it in a tempo that was not too slow. And maybe you hear it in the performance, but what I like in this piece to do is really have heavy accents. If you play in a tempo that is not too slow, or you choose to have a real allegro tempo, in a piece with a rhythmical evenness, it's all 16 notes as this is, so that you really get this feeling of that's difficult though, because it can be boring at the same time. You have to find this little line, this border in which this accentuation gives a kind of feeling of walking, yum, bum, and then. So the hands are of course switching. It's not meant to be played. Which would be much easier. But while shifting the hands, and remember Franz Liszt will do that also, but much more. By shifting your hands, you get a normal, natural position for an accentuation, which of course on the clavichord you can make that very clear. And on other instruments you have, on an organ for instance, you have to make the first note longer. On a harpsichord the same thing, but on a clavichord you can do the same, but also the accentuation. And I think that this music really, so as all 18th century music, can use this kind of heavy accentuation. Not always heavy, but I mean clear accentuation. Will be continued in the later 18th century with the pianoforte. We talked about that in the Kramer Etudes as well. So, second thing is, if you turn your hands just to enable left hand, right hand to position themselves in order to play the notes, obviously, the little circles you make, you should try to make them in the kind of movement that they really follow the rhythm. I show you. So the left hand is. You could say, well, it's not the shortest way making circles. If you go directly, you could make a straight line from this figure, then the left hand takes over, to the B. But you will notice and you will feel that if you make circles, that although the way is longer, it gives a much more natural feeling, and the time required to arrive at the right note, at the right position, that is shorter. So the way is longer, but the positioning is easier, and therefore the timing is shorter. Of course, within limits. And then keep the same metrical feeling. I could say the tempo, but metrical feeling, the movement is much more important. So heavy jump, bum, jump. And this is difficult, since of course you get all the tricky things. So that means that all 16 notes, be sure that you don't rush. Which is not easy. It's easy to go to the lower D, because you have to reach. So don't panic, you will reach. And I make these 16 notes, which are the beginning of the bar, or whenever I can hold them, I hold them, because they give rest to, harmonically also are important, but they give rest to these sentences. They come. And then articulate when the figure. You get this kind of these long lines, they get shorter, but the rhythmical accents they change. So Bach comes back on the beginning, but with shifting the rhythm, and there the accentuation should be right on spot, and make a little phrasing. I make a little phrasing. Of course, from a viewpoint of composition, that is really unbelievable good. It's incredible. You get a feeling as if you miss an accent. You shift from one bar structure to another, but on the A, there everything is right again. And that is simple chords. I would make a little bit, not drama, but make them fortissimo. And then you get two voice piece, one in the bass. It's not too complicated, but you should try to make everything, whatever you do, come from articulation to the same, every figure, every time. Oh. And the right hand, you have again this melody within the figures. We talked about that a lot also in the invention. Very difficult. Also the clavichord is really suited for that, because you can have. Sorry. So I wouldn't play. For the right hand, the left hand has of course its own. When the left hand continues, just in rhythm, in the movement, and the right hand emphasizes these melodies. It's kind of rubato, but within the tempo, left hand just continues, you get this nice tension, as if the right hand wants to hold back a little bit and the left hand just continues as if nothing happens. And in reality the right hand is in tempo, but gives just the impression, and that's, to my feeling, so nice. Of course, that's very beautiful, but then the left hand takes over. And then comes a passage really where the left hand has this bass part, it is gamba-like voice, but it's going to expand in more and in larger intervals. The right hand as well, you get. And then it opens in again this monophonic line. So bass is important. You must let the audience hear it. So that means that you hold the G sharp longer, although you have to manage to be on time or about on time on the B, so that's a rather large jump, certainly on an old keyboard. But nevertheless, you stay longer on the B, on the G sharp, but because if you release it too soon, you don't have this bass that's going down, and that's important. Really difficult, because you have here, left hand is helping here, you have to jump to the A. So here you forte, and then on the harpsichord you could go to a second manual. Here you can change the sound. Make sure that you hear that, but that's difficult. You start with the left hand, right hand, second finger, left hand again. So it's really... Bach is really looking the edges of what's technically possible. Then you have here on the second manual. Same. So the accentuation stays, but it's just a little bit less. You can... And then comes the left hand. And the right hand goes with... And then it gets really complicated. Really the two voices image. And there the high point of the piece, I would really make strong accents, and the left hand I play very short. Again, left hand sober. And you might have noticed that then make a counter melody. It's not indicated, but it's impossible to indicate. So I think it's within the notation and gives again this nice three-dimensionality. It's different from this. Actually hard to avoid, so why not emphasizing that? So it's important when you have these 16 notes in the bass that you really make sure that you play good in the key, because otherwise you won't hear them. And of course when they, you won't hear them as clear, very clear articulated. Also here accentuation. On clavichord of this instrument particularly, you can give. It's not a B-boom, but it's going over the tone. And you get a kind of trumpet-like sound. I like that very much here. So here. Ridiculous, difficult for that time. However, it is very well written for the keyboard. So okay, Allemande. I could imagine a tempo also that's a little bit slow. It's just what you want, and in any case, these 16 triplets, to my feeling, and it's also, you can read it in all sources, that they should be articulated rather well. The longer the note structure is that the Baroque composer uses, the more legato the playing should be. So here, what we've talked about in the inventions is really all in here. So complete separation of left and right hand. There's sometimes third voice, but that's playing with another voice, like for instance here. But then, and to make this dialogue clear, have to make sound. And left hand is just accompanying that. I don't know whether that's correct. But at the same time, giving the rhythmical impulse. Make the figures go. Sorry. And really. So I like this movement very much. It gives kind of joy and certainly here. I make use again of this. So I play these notes faster, with more energy. Let's read the left hand. So it's necessary that the instrument, not necessary, but it's a good thing if an instrument has a long tone, certainly. And you can make some passages more dramatic by playing more legato, certainly. He's doing here. That's incredible. But here the left hand really participates in this dialogue for adding to the drama. It's really a panic, as if the drums with the high point. To express to you what kind of articulation differences I make. It's but because every heavy beat, you should, by the articulation in this piece, feel that you fall on the heavy beat. Legato over the beat structure. That's something that you read also. It's not done so often, and some instruments work it on an organ. This is difficult. On the harpsichord, I think it works well, and on the clavichord. Anyway, I wouldn't overuse that, but it's nice from time to time. Then the Courante, I choose a fast tempo as well. And also here, melody. count. So the other 16 notes are just adding for the rhythm. Say that on YouTube, but yeah, I mean, and then the jump, 2 jumps. Play this on a concert, you know what I mean. It's just jumping in from a rock 100 meters high and knowing that you will land on your 2 feet. But if you hesitate 1 fraction of a second, it's not good. Also here, the left hand, very important to me that the rhythmical accentuation pattern remains, and so that you don't rush. And there are other ways of doing this, but find these particular articulation moments where you can connect the figures. So it gives connection. So here. If you don't do it, very dry. And then left hand. Also here focus on the I have to check, okay, it's no problem. So it's going up. But then with another added 16th note just for rhythmical accent. What to think from wait a little bit. Hold all the notes and get a very nice fortissimo. That is really incredible music. Fantastic. So I chose this tempo also for a reason of that joy and these possibilities that it gives to pronounce certain things and also take a little bit of technical risk. And certainly when you play in concert, it's nice to add some flavor of this. And the Courante, yeah. Because it gets much more gentle if you slow down the tempo a little bit. So that's a matter of choice. I don't think that there's really a rule for that. And so then we go to the Sarabande, which is a rather sober piece, and it's not as elaborate as some others Sarabandes, but to me the power of this piece is really in the way that you can hold the notes and the certain harmonies as long as you can without breaking the line. And I show you what I mean. So if you start it, I have to check, by the way, but with the Urtext editions, I'm playing from the Dover, which is a replica of the first Bach Gesellschaft edition, and this 19th century edition, but it's really, really good. I've not found many mistakes, but they follow the sources that they had, and an Urtext edition gives some more context about some ornaments. Certainly ornaments in the partitas is important to check. I leave some ornaments out, but it's something okay. So about accentuation and about holding notes longer. Not longer, but as long as you can. So that's difficult to explain. But if you see the movement as a kind of circular movement, and if you go slow, dum ta da. Let me look for as long as this movement goes, so make it a little bit longer. That's so powerful in slow movement, certainly in these Sarabandes. If I just play it, and of course no accent on the G. This is this D. That's just normal. Make use of this kind of instruments, where, in contrast to an organ, where the tone has, of course, an eternal length, if you would like. Here you have compared to an organ, it's a short tone, but it gives room for phrasing. Like in left hand here. The right hand, middle voice. Left hand, the right. Also here. You have to make a phrase. Always in this circular movement. Then you feel the silence breathing, so to say. I always wonder why that's. If there is silence and you play a piece like this, afterwards there's more silence than before. It's strange. Okay. The difficulty on this Sarabande is just to continue in this line. I mean, you can overdo that, and certainly if you play and it really works great and you want to do it again, there's a big chance of imitating what went well, and that's something you should avoid. And it's not something that that's not the case with me or with other professional players. I mean, you have in a day, or certainly during a recording, most of the times, and certainly in pieces like this, which are technically more or less demanding, they are easier to play in certain ways, but they are much more demanding in just keeping this movement and not let the movement fall apart. So really on the edge, and that's something that only one time during a recording session is really spot on if you're lucky, but seldomly tries. Okay, then the minuet, which is a very strange piece because you have a kind of shift in measure. You have triplets and then 8 notes, yeah. And it's difficult also for me. I had to practice this. So it's 3 8 notes as a triplet, so it's actually 2/4. No, it's not 2/4. Yeah, you could say 2/4, but divided in the time for 3/4. So yeah. So also with your right hand, a good accentuation. With the circles, all I do it. Forte. Between the hands, difficult. Actually, this is a very easy piece if you manage to play the notes and you have to accentuation right. I mean, there's not too much to interpret. You can choose a slower tempo, you can choose whatever you want. Maybe also I play a little bit on the fast side, I don't know. And also difficult for these partitas, just playing between the hands. It would make sense to play this on 2 keyboards. Of course, you have also in the first partita, the last part with the where the hands are going here, just which is so much easier on 2 keyboards and 2 manuals. I don't think that's meant by Bach, because part of the technical difficulty is exactly in managing that. And on the clavichord, of course, you have the ability of making sound differences as if you were playing on 2 manuals. Okay, then the Passepied, which is a remarkable piece, and I just played it in one straight on tempo with a good articulation, and I like that. Try to sing whenever you can. And make independent articulation. So that gives again this. So not too long. Also here. it's very important that you follow the lines and the melodic lines, and that you shape them according to their to the melody, so that you don't again adjust articulation vertically but horizontally different. And then you have as a listener hopefully a kind of feeling that you can listen this and then this and then this and then this, and it's not going like this but it's going like this, and that's essential. These middle voices are what gives the piece the really backbone of the piece. Accentuation. I like that so much doing. And then with the kind of slowly, I don't know it's an English word, but left hand. So isn't that really great music? And then the Gigue. This is really, first part was difficult, the Courante was difficult, the Allemande is difficult, but this is the most difficult one. This is really on the edge of what you can do with three voices. You have in the here in this section here. Then the left hand. It's going from left to right, for left. For the melody, for the theme. So, the tempo, very well articulated, I think. Also here, finish the right hand, short. Don't make it too long because left hand is difficult. Make it short. So I divide the left hand because it's coming back a lot of times. In a kind of bass melody, it's coming back right directly, but also later, and we talked about giving connection from one figure to another, and this really gives connection. I can show you. Listen. It's not the most important voice because the left hand takes over, but it gives the rhythmical accentuation. It's very important. So completely against the left hand. And you shouldn't hear that in the left hand. Here. So you have this short D that we talked about in the beginning. But on that moment where you have the short D, so the release of the A, the weaker beat, you have the F sharp, it gets an accent. play this in a concert, you really have to practice that you can play this blind, because you won't be able to read the notes. It's going too much in between. Make a good bass. Here, don't rush. Continue with. In the 18th century in 1728, really. Maybe in Germany. It's going over more than our octave, playing this figure here, just with the two fingers at the top. Okay. Continues. Then the last thing, in the second part you have the added figure with the trill, and I just play it very regularly, because I think it's important that the trill ends right, and if you play it, it's difficult. There are players that are able to do that. I think it gives a kind of a steadiness to the piece, kind of rhythmical impulse also when you play it regularly. It gets very complicated. Also, very difficult, and also for me. There's a funny thing here that he adds a kind of the, which is coming back. It's coming back here. This Gigue is kind of heavy piece. 6/8 is not the fastest bar structure. Pa 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 pa. And then in the last line, and then we close, you have this incredible difficult drill. You have your left. You have to end this drill and then. I'm honest with you that not always these drills succeed with me. But anyway, that's life. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. And I think also it's 18th century like. They didn't practice until they could play it like the modern pianist could do. But anyway, this is something that I work on and needs perfection in the future. Anyway, this was a very long Afterthoughts. I thank you for watching, and we will do the other 3 partitas and not waiting a year for the next one, since the official recording, so to say, which we will do with the studio tape recorder and to release on vinyl, definitely has to come in 2016. So this is all preparation for that. Thank you for watching. Again, don't hesitate to ask things, don't hesitate to write things if you think on something that I just miss. There is so much to be investigated and researched on this music, and my focus is mainly on the playing, and there are so many aspects that I might just overlook, so don't hesitate to point me on that if you hear or know or think on something. Thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and for sharing this video. And then I stop talking by wishing you a good night. Bye.